Sorry about this being a late upload. At the time of me recording this right now, this is recorded on May 9th, 2023. So the rest of the video you are about to see is actually all recorded 1 week ago on one specific day, May 2nd, 2023. So enjoy the video. Hello there people, it's me, Lagosto. And yeah, I changed my name to Lagosto because I thought that would sound more cool. Over a year ago, I made a video of why I don't like my 8th grade school year or my middle school. And that video actually wasn't good. First is the voice, which is completely broken. It literally sounds like the synthesizer of CapCut. Even though I'm literally using CapCut for this video, but I don't use voice changers anymore.
Hello, this is Iggy Fan 1, aka Windows Iggy 2KA, because that will be my new YouTube name soon.
You actually got it wrong. It's actually now Lagosto, and I've never changed that name ever since. The name back in April 2022 was always Iggy Fan number 1, and I changed my YouTube name to Leg02 around July of 2022. And now I changed it to Lagosto. Now enough wasting time because I'm actually going to talk about my 9th grade school year, which you all want to see in this video. My expectations for 9th grade were going to be pretty high, and I wanted this school year to be great, but it failed, and this school year ended up being one of the worst school years I've ever been in. Now, is this currently the worst school year I've ever been in? We'll talk about it during the conclusion. The first chapter of this video is the stuff that is actually good about this school year. Don't worry, there isn't much. Yep, we even got positives about this school year. So overall, I actually enjoy the first 2 months of being in this high school until late October to early November. But we'll talk about that in the next chapter. I also really love that Adorable Maggie is in the same high school as me. Yes, Adorable Maggie. Yeah, I literally said that Adorable Maggie goes to the same high school as me in the last Beyond Community video that I made. And sometimes when I feel moody in the high school, Adorable Maggie actually hugs me in real life, just like what she does online. To be honest, I actually liked the first day of school because every 9th grader actually goes to the high school before the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders do. They are actually being taught on how the high school actually works and how knowing where to go. I also really love my counselor actually helping me with some of my schoolwork that I'm actually currently struggling with, which we'll get to my classes very soon. And the last positive before we get to the negatives is that some of the students in the high school are actually likable. Don't worry, there isn't much because most of the students are unlikable in my high school. And that's all the positives. Now we're onto a downward spiral with 9th grade.
Downward spiral, downward spiral, downward spiral, downward spiral, downward spiral.
To be honest, most classes I have in the school aren't good. Honestly, they really bore me to sleep because school is just so boring. At least put feeling into those classes for me to not be bored. So the class or classes I have first period because the classes actually switch whenever what day it is. Like if it's an odd day, it's physical education. If it's an even day, then it would be earth science. Let's start with physical education. Now, I do like this class, but the sports that they play are really uninteresting for me to play. The first sport that they played was football. In my opinion, football is one of the worst sports, honestly. I'm just not good at throwing, and I don't really get the rules that much. I'm pretty good at catching the football, but I'm pretty bad at throwing. Yes, you can call me weak, but I'm actually pretty strong. I've actually picked up my family before. The next sport that they played was badminton. In my opinion, badminton is one of the best sports out there. I always have a good time playing it, and I'm really good at it, and I even tried beating out some of the professionals high school badminton professionals because they're literally in the same class as me. Next was volleyball. I hated volleyball so much back in 8th grade, but now I don't hate it as much as I originally have. But still, volleyball isn't that good. I don't hate volleyball, but I think it's quite annoying, honestly. If I want to be good at volleyball, I actually have to be in the front, because if I'm in the back, I'm not going to be the best at serving. But when I actually do serve for the first time, I actually serve pretty good. I actually serve really far, and it actually causes the other team that I'm facing against to lose. Next was hockey. This sport lasted pretty briefly. I wasn't the best at hockey, but I actually overall liked this one. Yes, I did not like it as much as badminton, but still, I like the sport. And then we actually eventually went outside, and that's what we're currently doing right now in this school year. And with physical education out of the way, I have shorter responses for the other classes. Earth science was, quite frankly, a pretty annoying class. I didn't hate it as much as living environment, but still, this class is not good. I have earth science during second period and sometimes first period if it's an even day. My main complaint with earth science is the labs. Oh, labs are fun. They are really fun. I get your points, but labs also are extremely time wasting. The main reason why these labs are actually incomplete is because of the CERs. Now, I do get that the CERs are supposed to be in high school, but why do you have to put CERs on literally every single 30 labs I have to do? Yes, I have completed most of the labs, but if you actually don't do the CER, it's gonna be marked as incomplete. Even if you do everything except for the CER. If you do something good in earth science, you will get awarded a ticket. And how many tickets do you need for a CER pass? 5 tickets. And do you know how much tickets is it for a homework pass? 3 tickets. Yes, CER passes are somehow more valuable than homework passes. This makes no sense because homework is actually more important than CERs. My original third period class was lunch. Well, lunch doesn't count as a class. But now, my third period class right now is everyday law. Everyday law was originally my least favorite class of all time. It no longer is because some other class actually took that spot. And yeah, everyday law actually is mediocre, honestly. Every week, there is at least 4 assignments I have to do online. Yes, online assignments. And yeah, I have to do all of them with my counselor. And yeah, she helps me a lot, and that was pretty cool. Why is it suddenly mediocre? It's because I don't know anything about law, and I don't want to be a lawyer when I grow up. I want to be something else that I don't really want to tell you right now. Then there's geometry. This class is just so bad, I really can't stand it. The only positive about geometry is the teacher. I actually think the teacher of geometry is pretty nice, but we'll talk about him in the teachers chapter. I just don't get geometry. Geometry is one of the hardest classes in high school, and honestly, it really is. I should have just taken something easier like intro to geometry, but I couldn't because I was really good at algebra back in 8th grade. And don't even get me started on the amount of homeworks in geometry. The amount of homeworks in geometry is ridiculous. Oh my god, there's like homeworks literally every single day. And now, right now, there's 2 homeworks every day, which is so annoying. I am forced to do them every single day. You don't know how much pain I had to go through for this high school. Now we got English. English is a class I don't particularly hate, but I think that class is really boring and uninteresting. There's not a lot I have to talk about this one because English is just pretty forgettable. So I currently have lunch in 6th period now, but originally in my 6th period class, I actually had design and drawing, which in my opinion is truly the worst class I've ever been in. Now, I was alright with this class in September, but things really got annoying back in October. I got in trouble countless amount of times in that class. It's honestly repetitive. I even got in trouble for no reason. I literally got into some type of argument with Roy Gerhard. Yeah, the person who ran that Roy Gerhard account is actually in my design and drawing class. And he actually got me in trouble and the teacher actually forced me to move my seat just because of Roy Gerhard. Yes, him. But then design and drawing eventually got better because I was talking to some friend of mine, and then the teacher decided to separate me and my friend. And yeah, she was pretty sad about that. The teacher is just not good, honestly. He's the only teacher I actually do not like. And then eventually, around mid-November, I actually got dropped out of that class because I was arguing with another kid, not Roy Gerhard, but some other kid that I really do not like. I eventually moved to study hall, which study hall is a lot better, but it doesn't really count as a class because it's just a class where you can just hang out and do a lot of random stuff. Now we got Spanish honors, and to be honest, Spanish is the only class I actually really like. Yeah, I'm really good at Spanish honors, but I don't really talk in Spanish. I just write in Spanish because it's a lot easier. And I can understand Spanish pretty well. Yes, you can call me a Spanish nerd because I'm literally in an honors class. And then finally, in 8th period, I have global history. And global history is a class. It's an alright class, but there's way too many enduring issues. And yeah, that's all I need to say about it. I could have put Spanish honors as a positive, but there is some negatives about that class that I sometimes really can't handle. Yeah, the classes already made me not like this school year, but we haven't even gotten to the students yet. I can't believe I have reached unlikable territory at this point. The students have got to be one of the most unlikable students I've ever seen in a high school. I know I am a Christian and I'm supposed to like the kids, but I seriously couldn't because they just suck. At least in my perspective, 1 out of 100 students in the high school actually try to be good students. And yeah, they are good students right now though. And there's over 3,000 students in the high school, so that means there's only like 30 students in the high school I actually like, and the rest are either I don't know or just really unlikable. Since Roy Gerhard is indeed in my high school, you all probably thought Roy Gerhard was the worst student in my high school, but it actually isn't. He was originally going to be my least favorite, but I found someone else who is actually a simp just like Roy Gerhard. I'm not even going to reveal his name because I'll probably get in trouble by my school. You all might know this, but I actually do have Snapchat. And I actually do snap quite a lot, and I do have 1,000 snap points on there. And I do try and friend people on Snapchat, and yeah, they do respond, but sometimes they just unfriend me for literally no reason. Adorable Maggie also did that same thing because Roy Gerhard actually forced her to unfriend me on Snapchat, which kind of makes me hate Roy Gerhard even more. It kind of makes sense for the students to be unlikable by unfriending me on Snapchat, but there is literally no reason to unfriend me on Snapchat unless if you actually don't like me, because nobody really likes me in high school anyway. Also, in the video I made a year ago where I don't like 8th grade, I said this.
Another problem I have with students is that most of the students swear in my school, even though I do swear myself, but very rarely. I know that swearing is a freedom of speech, which I do get that you can swear whenever you want, but the students swear literally all the time, repetitively, non-stop.
Bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what was the purpose of that? Why did you just strip? And he has another one? What the fuck? Oh, I thought he took that shit with him. I look over there.
Some of them say the N-word, which is very racist to say if you're white.
And that is still true to this day. The constant swearing I have through these kids is absolutely ridiculous. Even though I do swear myself, I definitely do not swear as much as these students. Literally around 75% of the students in my high school actually swear. I'm not kidding. If you actually go to high school like I do, you'll see my point. Also, there's been a lot of random, dumb relationships in my high school that I honestly really do not like. Now, I'm not trying to be jealous because I don't have a relationship. No, these relationships make no sense. And based around how unlikable the students are, I'm not trying to be heartless here, but none of the students in the high school deserve to have a relationship, except for the students that are actually good students. I'm more of a really calm, emotional student rather than just being an annoying standard student. I was actually alright with Roy Gerhard's rant out of relationships, even though he was a hypocrite because he did have a girlfriend already, But here's the thing, Roy Gethard actually doxed Adorable Maggie's first name. Not her last name, but her first name. This led to me hating that video when it could have been an alright rant video. Even though it was just typically beyond, but I'm gonna stop talking about that. I really wish the teachers should not put me in classes with Roy Gethard, but for some strange reason, they did. They put me in period 3 lunch with Roy Gethard, geometry with Roy Gethard, English with Roy Gethard, and design and drawing with Roy Gethard. It's so annoying, and I cannot stand the sight of actually even seeing him at all. I would say the best student in the high school is probably Adorable Maggie.
I would say you're 100. 100.
Let me go over the students in each class. In physical education, they're fine, but I get a little uncomfortable with them sometimes. In earth science, they're fine, I guess. In everyday law, the students are actually good because they're actually older, and I'm like one of the only 9th graders in that class, but there are some other 9th graders in that class though. Despite of how much I don't like geometry, the students there are fine. The teacher is actually great in that class, but we'll go to the teachers next. In English, they were also alright. Now to design and drawing. The students there were god-awful. I cannot stand them. In Spanish, they were originally good students, but now they just turn into annoying pieces of crap I don't want to see. Yes, the smart kids in that class actually are not as smart as you actually think. And in social studies, the students are also pretty annoying too. Now, why did I actually originally like the students in my Spanish class? Well, they actually didn't talk as much. But now, they talk insanely much and... Shut up! Shut the fuck up! And now the teacher is just assigning partners, even though she doesn't even do that and is like forcing everyone to find a partner. And I never find a partner because I'm typically just some type of lonely kid in that class. I'm not the only lonely kid. There's some other lonely kids in that class that don't have partners. Maybe I could help them, but I'm too shy to even answer because they either don't want to be partners with me or just really don't like me. And when I don't have a partner, I struggle with work easier. Now, what about global history? They're annoying, but not too annoying like in Spanish and design and drawing. It might just be that some of the classes I'm in mostly have good kids, mainly because the annoying kids basically just blend in the background of the good kids. And yeah, some of the students in the school, well, basically most of them in the school, actually are Christians, and I'm actually real proud of them. I should be real proud of them, but for some reason I am not proud of them because they don't even act like Christians. The people who aren't even religious, I actually have more sympathy over them rather than the kids who are actually not acting like Christians when they're actually supposed to act like Christians. It seems like the students in 9th grade are even more unlikable than 8th grade, back when they weren't even likable. Wow, that was a large essay of me just talking about the students. Don't worry, the next chapter won't make me as angry as this one. I don't have a lot of stuff to talk about the teachers because most of the teachers I actually have are actually pretty good. Let's go from classes to classes, starting with physical education. My teacher, well, also known as the coach, is actually pretty cool. He actually is, pretty likable teacher, actually. He can actually help people with, sports, especially me with football, because I struggle with football. And then there's the teachers in earth science. And yeah, I have 2 teachers in earth science, and they both are pretty funny. They love arguing with each other because they think it's funny, but it kind of is actually, not gonna lie. Then there's everyday law. My everyday law teacher might be the best teacher I've actually had this year because he's actually pretty cool. He actually also helps me with everyday law assignments, not just the counselor I have. I've mentioned my geometry teacher a lot of times throughout this video, so I'll say it again. I think the geometry teacher is actually really cool, actually. He also tries helping me as well, just like with the other teachers, and overall, I actually never hated these teachers, but except for one teacher that I absolutely did not like. But now let's go to English. I have 2 teachers during English, and both are pretty nice, actually. Sometimes they do get a little concerned about me struggling with English work, but it's not my fault. It's just that the English work is just really complicated sometimes. And then there's the design and drawing teacher. In my opinion, the design and drawing teacher is the worst teacher of this year. He's just so annoying sometimes. For some reason, when I'm on my phone, he actually takes my phone, and I see other people on their phones, but guess what? He doesn't take their phones, and he's just going way too hard on me because he thinks I'm gonna fail the design and drawing class when I'm just struggling with it more than most of the other kids that are really unlikable as well. If you think allowing kids on their phones was a great idea, then what was the point of actually taking my phone for no reason? This teacher makes no sense and is definitely the worst teacher of this year. Now let's go on to Spanish honors. I actually have 3 different teachers, but let's go from oldest to newest. So the first teacher I had, she was actually another really nice teacher. She actually always smiles at the students and always gives me the greatest smiles. But then she had stuff to do with her family, and then there was a substitute. And the second teacher for Spanish was actually another great teacher. She also helped me with Spanish work, and then she got busy with the other classes, so then there was a third substitute, and this other substitute teacher was not as good as the other 2 teachers, but still is a great teacher. And then we finally arrive at global history. I have 2 teachers during global history, and there's actually one that actually goes to my church. I'm not kidding. And he is actually the cool teacher. The other teacher, she's actually pretty loud most of the time, but I can actually get used to it, and it can get really annoying after a while, but still, she's fine. The teachers was a bit of a shorter chapter, so let me move on to the final chapter. If you all are new to my channel, every single exclamation video I have leads to a conclusion. So before we go over 9th grade, let me tell you my 2 least favorite school years of all time. 2nd grade and kindergarten. Those years were just equally bad because I got in trouble so many times throughout these years. Even though I got in trouble in 2nd grade a lot more than kindergarten, but I acted a lot worse in kindergarten than 2nd grade. But here's the thing. I actually hate 2nd grade more than kindergarten because I actually had a worse teacher in 2nd grade than in kindergarten. So that evens up. So, in my honest conclusion, which school year would I prefer? Kindergarten, 2nd grade, or 9th grade? Based on school years that I never want to revisit ever again and school years that I actually love to talk about, I prefer 9th grade. There is a lot more that's wrong with 9th grade, but I actually didn't hate it as much as kindergarten and 2nd grade. At least there were a few stuff in 9th grade that I actually liked. However, in kindergarten and 2nd grade, there were very little positives about these 2 years that I honestly really hated them. So once I graduate out of high school, I will eventually do a ranking list of every single school year of mine ranked from worst to best. It will come out in about 2 to 3 years. Stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching Lagosto, and have a great day.